and away! Every year at this time, an international balloon festival gets off the ground in Mexico. It's the 21st time the event has been held there, and organizers say it features 200 balloons from 23 countries. The spectacle doesn't just showcase multicolored inflatables, though there are plenty of those. It also includes dozens of what officials call special figures. There's a tiger, a frog, a Russian nesting doll, a Coke bottle, all of them firing up and lifting high into the sky. One tourist said she was amazed at how many there are and how close they are, and one of the pilots who came from Lithuania described the event as world level, top class. We might even rephrase that as top of the world. Hi, I'm Carl Azeus. Welcome to the world from A to Z. We're so happy you're watching our second of two shows this week. Next is an update for you on the war in the Middle East. For several days now, the Israeli military has been conducting controversial operations at the largest hospital in Gaza. It's accused Hamas, the militant group it's fighting in Gaza, of hiding within the civilian population and of using tunnels underneath the Al-Shifa hospital for terrorist operations. Both Hamas and hospital officials deny this. They say Al-Shifa is only used as a medical center, and they've said Israel's raids there show how the country doesn't care for civilians' lives in Gaza. But Israel has released video and taken a CNN reporter to a shaft at the hospital, and the nation says the tunnel beneath Al-Shifa stretches for more than 180 feet. We don't know yet where it leads. Israel has also shown weapons and ammunition that were reportedly found at the hospital site. It says Hamas has broken international law by using the hospital, a civilian site, for military operations. Israel's critics say the nation has broken international law by launching military raids at the hospital. It'll take time before we know for sure what's happened there. Meanwhile, 28 premature babies that were being cared for at the Al-Shifa hospital have been evacuated to Egypt. U.S. officials say there may be an agreement in the works to release some of the 240 hostages that Hamas took from Israel in its October 7th attack. These hostages may be exchanged for Palestinians being held in Israeli prisons. As the war itself continues, divisions over it have deepened and spread, causing strife as they reach U.S. campuses.
Communities say they are experiencing hate, this time on college campuses. The Department of Education is launching an investigation into 7 schools and universities so far of alleged incidents of anti-Semitism and Islamophobia.
We take the responsibility very seriously to protect students' freedom to learn in an environment that's free of hate.
Student groups have held hundreds of protests and vigils on campuses across the country, some turning violent. The probe will determine possible discrimination, and if there is just cause, these schools could risk losing federal funding if they don't comply with the department's recommendations. Education Secretary Miguel Cardona says schools have a legal obligation to report incidents of discrimination, including against those who are Jewish, Muslim, or Arab.
When students can't feel safe walking from their dorm to their classroom because they're afraid that they're going to get harmed, that's unacceptable. We must protect students at all costs.
I'm Gloria Pasmino reporting.
We'd like to follow up with your thoughts on this after the break. What do you think can be done to encourage civil dialogue, respectful conversations, even disagreements about issues like this, but without fighting? Teachers, please tell us what your students are saying by commenting under today's show at youtube.com/@theworlda2z. And while we're on the subject of folks who are watching, we are happy to see Mr. Harris's class today from Mount Vernon, Indiana. Big hello to everyone at Mount Vernon Senior High School. And we're making a stop in Columbia, Missouri, where we've got Miss Klutz's class online. Tuesdays are awesome at Smithton Middle School. On this date in world history. Mayflower Compact might sound kind of like a smaller Mayflower. Instead, it was an agreement signed aboard the Mayflower, the English ship carrying pilgrims and travelers to America. Bad weather had blown them off course from their intended destination in New York, and they felt they needed some sort of government structure before landing in Massachusetts. So they signed the legal framework of the Mayflower Compact on November 21st, 1620. This date in 1920 became known as Bloody Sunday during the Irish War of Independence. The Irish Republican Army targeted suspected British intelligence agents, killing 14 people. In retaliation, forces aligned with the British attacked people at a soccer game in Dublin, killing 14 people and injuring dozens of others there. The Irish War of Independence continued until December of 1921. A 10-year-old recently made history at a children's hospital in Indianapolis, Indiana. The longest that anyone's ever waited for a heart transplant there is 19 months, and the girl who did that is named Ava Graham. She celebrated 2 birthdays in the hospital. She got education there. She got to know quite a few doctors and nurses over the course of her stay. Finally, she's gotten to go home, and the transplant coordinator says it's a blessing that Ava got a new heart, and it's a good one.
Let's give a courageous cheer for Ava Graham, who is leaving Riley Hospital for Children after 579 days and 1 new heart. The 10-year-old was born with a rare defect that affected normal blood flow through the heart. It took lots of time to find a match, but Ava was finally able to get a new one and got to head home. Ava said on her way out that she's just excited to see her bedroom again. For Take a Look at This, I'm Patrick Cornell.
A bird of knowledge. What kind of animal did U.S. founding father Benjamin Franklin describe as a bird of bad moral character? Bald eagle, wild turkey, red-headed woodpecker, trumpeter swan. In a letter to his daughter, Franklin said he wished the bald eagle had not been chosen as the American national symbol.
Franklin wrote his daughter that the eagle didn't make an honest living, that it was too lazy to fish for itself, and that it's often, quote, lousy and a rank coward. He then said that a turkey is more respectable, though it's a little vain and silly. Historians debate how serious Franklin was when he wrote this. Some say he might have been sincerely talking turkey, others say that's for the birds. He was just being silly himself. But it is the season when turkeys get a lot of attention, not always the kind they want, and we're sharing some turkey facts with you today, starting with the fact that they have 2 stomachs.
Swallowing food whole, the glandular stomach softens food with stomach acid. The food then enters the gizzard, where there's small stones. Literally, turkeys periodically swallow tiny rocks. These help the gizzard grind up and break down food. In fact, that's how all birds eat. That's the classic turkey sound, a turkey gobbling. But turns out only male turkeys gobble. They use it to woo the ladies, called hens. While they strut their stuff and show off their feathers, a gobble announces a male's presence to potential mates. But it also warns any rival turkeys to stay away. Another trait unique to males is that their heads can change color, the skin alternating between red, white, and blue, depending on their emotional state. That could be calm, agitated, excited, and so on. Sounds patriotic, and actually turkeys are what you might call an all-American bird. They're only native to the Americas, and yet they're named after the country of Turkey, which is on the other side of the world. Europeans who first came across the turkeys thought they looked like a type of African guinea fowl. These birds were imported to Europe from Turkey, and they called them turkey fowl. There's certainly a resemblance between the 2 birds. The Europeans started calling the American birds just turkeys, and eventually the term became exclusive.
A popular story goes that President Lincoln's son Tad befriended a turkey the family was scheduled to eat for Christmas and begged the U.S. leader to spare the animal's life. He did, and that might have been the first U.S. presidential turkey pardon. But the Thanksgiving tradition of doing that was formalized by President George H.W. Bush in 1989. And every year since then, American leaders have spared certain lucky turkeys who get to live out the rest of their days on a farm. On Monday, his 81st birthday, President Joe Biden ensured 2 turkeys from Minnesota would also see their next birthdays.
These birds have a new appreciation of the word, let freedom ring. Congratulations, birds.
It's too bad the tradition didn't start sooner. They could have pardoned George Waddleton, Martin Van Burden, Wingyum Henry Harrison, Zachary Taylor, Gizzard Fillmore, Featherford B. Hayes, Beardrow Wilson, Snoodrow Wilson, Gobbled Ford, Tip Canoe, and Turkey too. I mean, maybe the presidency is all it's cooked up to be. I'm Caruncle Azeus, wishing all y'all turkeys a terrific Thanksgiving. We are so thankful for you, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday on The World from A to Z.